are here and all of you are in very high positions in the corporate world. And we are talking something which is very inside the firm, right? Something that is a point of contention, but also something to ponder on. Say, when you say the finance team did not clear my idea, is something comes to your mind also, keep why? And you always keep asking this question that, yeah, I had a very good idea, but it was not clear. And that's the pretext of this conversation that we are having. And I would like to see your opinion on this, that is it the right thing, or is it something that we want to uh, go when the world is moving into saying innovation is the only thing, and finance is holding on to innovation, which might not be always correct. But yes, what are your experiences on this, and how do you see finance really as a, do you see it really as a blocker or no? Or do you see that, yeah, the projects were not good and there is a responsibility for the proposing team as well? So that's what the conversation is about that we have today. And I think we can start.
It's so Himanshu, I have been in the BPO oblique operations business for a very, very long time now. So innovation for us is very, very critical, right? And I myself have run a lot of global accounts, and we have large, commitments that we have to deliver to our clients. So there is no option whether finance is approving or not approving. The question is, how well can you innovate, and how well can you articulate the benefits, right, to the organization, so that we get the approval, the required approval. Most of the time, what I've seen is that it is really dependent on the team who is driving the innovation and how they're driving the innovation. What kind of articulation is happening, what kind of benefits are kind of articulated in a more language which finance understands. So finance understands whether I have to, whether I will need to spend money, whether I will save money, whether I will, get this benefit, whether I'll get a working capital benefit. So I think as long as we are able to articulate that to the right audience and the benefit that comes, at least in my experience, I have seen that a lot of things get approved, right? And of course, there is this behavior and attitude and how you kind of reach out to various part of the business. But I think from my perspective, I think it is really how you kind of present your case, how you articulate it, what benefit it has to everybody. I think that is very, very critical.
What I'm hearing is that there are conditions like ROI which need to be met. But what is there on top of your mind when I'm saying that there are 2-3 things when I say yes, 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 I don't have a problem that, and finance people don't have a problem on approving this project, right? Well, what are the 2-3 things that are coming? Can you
says, I don't think it's just finance. It is about the leadership, entire leadership. How do you actually communicate, whether it's a yes or a no? Is it like just saying, is it like the budget is not approved because we don't have cost? Or is it like we do not even have a conviction? Because it's always easier for any leader to say, okay, the budget is not approved because the cost is not there. But have the leaders actually put in their part to it to actually make sure that we are, how it is aligned to the strategy of the business or the priorities of the business? I think when that is linked, then your approvals from finance from that aspect, I think it becomes much more easier. And given that, I am from the HR side of it, these days, every time a no is just not a no. It is a perception. It becomes a mindset within, the employee. So they think is like, we're not valued. The idea is not coming through because it's just coming a no. So I think from that aspect, why it is not being approved, telling them, and right from the beginning having that conviction, and that the leaders play at all levels. It's just not finance or anything else. Every leader play that aspect. If anything is getting approved, why it is and why not it is getting approved. So innovation, definitely we talked about innovation. The talent is looking for experimentation. How big we can go, it depends on the cost of the organization, how big they can risk it. But then definitely from an HR perspective, this is what we do. We give that platforms for ideation. Sometimes it is small in budget. You do some pilots and then scale it up. These are some of the examples which we can do or not do, and why not, rather than just saying, okay, a blank no to people who are really looking, or just coming out for innovation or anything project. And sometimes I've also seen that, especially in training programs, how do you really come out with the ROI? But then, when you talk from a succession planning, how do I do succession planning if you're not building the leadership programs? So all these, if you explain, if you come with that kind of data value aligned with what strategy business is trying to achieve, it becomes much more easier for everybody to understand and then take a conscious call on that.
Company, so we don't have product as such. So it's not innovation, but we do follow a very rigorous budgeting process. In fact, our budgeting process starts in January, to be approved by March for the next financial year. So every business unit has to give what innovation or new product they want to launch. And you have to make a proper analysis of what will be the cost, revenue, ROI, etc. And then all the proposals go to the board. And the board then decides which one is to be taken forward. And the decision is not all the time based on ROI. Sometimes it's very important as a company for us to have a particular service line or a product which our competitors are doing. And if that line is missing for us, and maybe the gestation period is slightly longer, we will still go and invest in that kind of a service line versus something which is very lucrative, but still it's just another add-on to it. So, just to summarize that, it's not only the ROI, which is of course very important. It cannot be a dead duck all its life. But let's say if it's a 2 years investment, but then we see a tremendous cross synergy coming in third year onwards, we do still go ahead with that kind of an investment as far as product is concerned for us.
So what we are seeing is that there is something to do with strategy, something that the firm looks forward to. And can you give us some examples where this strategy and this finance, ROI, everything comes together in your experience, and how does this actually materialize? The project actually gets on the floor.
Yeah, I come from a sector where, a lot of the rules are yet to be written. In fact, my credentials for being here is that I've lost more money and made more mistakes than probably most of you. But what that has taught me is that fiscal discipline in every aspect of the ideation process and then the execution process is super critical for sustainability. So I would say that as long as your strategy allows for a particular capital being at risk, that means you have a portion of your capital which is identified and earmarked as risk capital. And you have a sort of a sandbox in which people are allowed to play and spend that money. And in our organization, for us, I think because we are in the sustainability space, and we call ourselves a 30-year-old startup. We're 30 years old. We are a unicorn several times over, and we have 25,000 people. But we still consider ourselves a startup because the scale of the challenge and the scale of the opportunity is so big. We have a principle, which is every innovation program, our hurdle rates are very low. But we are very ruthless on two principles. Fail fast. Don't spend 5 years and then fail. In 6 months, if you have to fail in 6 months. And fail cheap. Don't spend 500 crores and fail. Spend 50 crores and fail. So I think but have many, many ideas in the pipeline. So and this is what has sort of worked for us and has given us a balance between return on capital, which is usually the lens through which every self-respecting finance person will look at any idea, right? Iska ROC kya hai? And obviously the fact that you're trying to create an industry out of nothing. And therefore you have to do things that nobody else has done. So traditional rules of ROI and ROC will not be able to sort of help you evaluate that. So as long as you're failing fast and you're failing cheap, as long as you have a very clear strategy, investor approved, board approved, which says this is the capital at risk that you're going to put in, and you have the right kind of human capital that you're putting behind it, I think we should celebrate failures. We should not be scared of it. And some amount of cash burn is necessary in order to create that differentiator that will eventually make you a global market leader.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is innovation is very important and failing fast is important. But how important it is when you're looking at a market which is so unpredictable, really? We are in a market where I don't really know 3 months down the line the variables that are there in the market will remain or not. So what are your ideas on that?
See, I would say we are all living in that unpredictable world. So it's become a BAU now, right? Especially with the changes that we've seen over last at least 1.5 year. I mean, you don't know what happens tomorrow. And we already know the big daddy makes some statement, gets some dream. Next morning, the whole economic world is, shaken. So I think that's become a part of the BAU business practices. I would say, I mean, budget is not just a financial commitment the way we look at it now, right? To me, it is more strategic commitment, and the boundaries between functions are actually disappearing. So it is not that there is somebody seeking a budget approval and somebody is approving. Of course, you have functions which are control functions, and you need to be in the financial discipline. But to me, budget approvals are a commitment, strategic commitment across the organization. And I don't think there are a set of people who will create a business case and then take it to somebody to seek an approval. I think everybody has become part of it, right? And everybody becomes their own perspective to whether this should be a strategic decision and whether we should make this investment or not. And I would say more than any time earlier, you take lot many risks in today's environment because it has become unpredictable. But that's the way to run the business. I mean, I was talking to somebody and said, as an entrepreneur, somebody who's in your position, you cover the risk every day. But as an entrepreneur, I take the risk every day. So your journey actually stops where my journey starts. So I think we always think that there is somebody who's holding a control function in the finances actually approving a budget. But that's not the case today. We are all part and parcel of it. If it is strategic, it is important for the organization. I have seen more than once that, we have been able to find space to approve those initiatives and get the money from somewhere if it is important for the organization and everybody has a buy-in.